Gamers, today we are stripping Dragon Danny of all of his artifacts, and we're going to be meticulously placing all the gear back on him, because I think the 4-star Think Dan Heng is better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's not a soy boy, surely not. So today we're going to be putting that to the test. I'm putting the best relics of his evolution, his Super Saiyan form, on him. So in today's video, we'll be giving a full in-depth build guide for Daniel Dan Heng, going over everything from his best in slot relics to his best in slot Lightcones, how to actually play him, what Eidolons you need, and finally at the end of the video, showing you the damage potential he can hit using his Super Saiyan forms gear. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into his kit breakdown now. So normally here we would start off with a skill, but for today's video we're starting off with a talent because the talent plays both into his ultimate and skill. Because basically what his talent's going to be doing is increasing his resistance penetration when he is buffed. This means he needs to be going as frequently as possible to keep getting this ability back up. This gives you a lot of damage, and you want to make sure you're timing this correctly with your ultimate and even just your skill ability so you're not running out of skill points. Next, let's go ahead and hop into the skill because the skill plays into the ultimate. What it's going to be doing is targeting a single enemy, and if you hit an enemy with a crit, this will be slowing the enemy as well. The reason I say this plays into the ult is because the ultimate move will also be targeting one enemy, hitting a super high 360% of his attack to one enemy. If the enemy is slowed, it'll be increasing that multiplier by an extra 108%. So everything in Danny's kit does play pretty nicely together, and you do have to play him in a certain way, which we'll get into in the showcase at the end of the video when I use all of Super Saiyan Danny's gear on him to show you how much damage he can really do. But all of this plays in tandem with each other, and he can be a super good unit as long as you're playing him correctly, because if you don't play him correctly, he might seem really bad, as I think many players do, and I even think that some tier lists put him down low because of how hard he is to play. Yes, at the end of the video, we'll also be going over his tier list rating and why I think people put him so low on the tier list, regardless of the fact of his damage. But not only does his kit have intricacies you need to play with, he also has bonus abilities inside of his traces as well. First of which being Hidden Dragon, which lets him be targeted less if he's 50% or lower on HP. This is okay, not the best. The second one is the best in my opinion, and that's going to be Faster Than Light. After launching an attack, there's a 50% chance to increase own speed by 20% for 2 turns. Speed is going to be super important for Danny so he can rotate more often and get that resistance penetration up more often than not, because it does require 2 turns before you're able to reproc it, so any speed or anything to help him go faster helps out a lot. Then finally, his last one, High Gale. Basic attacks deal 40% more damage to slowed enemies. Meaning if you use a skill, you crit them, the enemy's slowed now. This is going to be helping out your basic attack a lot. I mean, it's not the best out of the two here. I mean, honestly, his bonus abilities are not that good overall, but it can help in situations where you can't use your skill because you've maybe lost some SP, or maybe you didn't play the level good enough and you're out of SP, right? So this can help out in those situations. Now, as far as the level up order goes for all of his abilities, I would recommend leveling up ultimate, skill, and talent all the way up, and maybe even basic attack too. I mean, just about everything in this kit can be leveled up, so go for everything. If I were to give it an order, I would say upgrade the skill first, then the talent, and then the ultimate, because the skill is going to be giving you the majority of your damage. The talent will be giving you damage every 2 turns, and that also applies to the skill and the ultimate, and more often than not, you're using it with the skill, and then finally, you're going to be upgrading the ultimate. And if you decide to use that ability more often and make him more of an SP generator or a sub DPS, then maybe go for that High Gale just so his basic attack is doing more damage. Also go for smaller nodes as well. Most of them are attack nodes or just damage increases all around, so that could also be really good to have. But now with his kit breakdown out of the way and all of Danny's artifacts equipped, let's go ahead and talk about how to build him as far as relics go, what are his best in slots, and how should you be running your Danny as far as stats and everything like that goes. But first, a word from our sponsor. Guys, we don't have a sponsor. Please just subscribe. This is what the spot's for. Just subscribe to the channel. I don't have a sponsor. Please subscribe. And now let's go ahead and talk about those relics you guys want to hear about. Now, I just kind of want to show you guys what Danny is rocking first. He's running, obviously, a rainbow set here. He's running a Wastelander set. That's not going to matter too much. And that is a point I want to bring up here first before talking about sets. You don't need to run a set to make a character good. You just need the stats and substats to make a character good. I'm not saying that sets don't help the character out, but if you can build a good set with good substats and good main stats, run that over running a set bonus. Usually 9 times out of 10, these stats are going to be more beneficial to you than actually running a set bonus. That's why we don't really care about what's going on as far as the Wastelander set goes. Anyways, we're just going to briefly go over these. If you want to see a certain one, then you can pause the video and see what we're running as far as stats goes. Thanks for that guy in the last video that recommended me doing this. Now, let's talk about his best in slot relics. So obviously, right out of the gate, I think his best in slot relic is going to be the 4-piece eagle set. The reason I say 4-piece eagle set is because at a 2-piece, obviously it increases your wind damage, but it does something really special for the 4-piece set. And considering how fast you want him to go to re-up his talent and how low his ultimate cost is, only being 100, this is a 4-piece set that you can easily activate because whenever you use your ultimate, you'll be advancing forward your action by 25%. So this just helps him go more often, get his ult back up more, use his skill more. This just helps him be the most efficient beast in existence, right? Now, obviously, you can use Quantum set on just about any character, and it's going to help out a lot, but I do think this overall is a better set on him than the Quantum set just because he does have resistance penetration on his own, so that is helping out. Even though it's not as good as defense shred, I think this overall just helps out a bit more than the Quantum set would. But say you don't want to rock that set because it's cringe stinky to farm and you don't have any ice characters you want to level up right now. You could also run a 4-piece musketeer here. I mean, it's going to increase his speed. It'll also increase his attack damage, his basic attack damage, so this does help him out as far as like a sub DPS role, but the speed is the main thing. It's also increasing his normal attack percentage at a 2-piece. This can just be really good for him all around as well. I mean, 4-piece of the musketeer, you could even run 2 and 2 wind damage, 2 of this to really increase his attack damage and stuff like that. So I mean, these are a couple sets you could run. There is another set you could run, but we'll talk about that in a second here. Now, hopping into the best in slot planner set. Now, I do recommend the 2-piece Runeland Arena. The reason I do is because first of all, it increases his crit rate, but you want his crit rate to be up super high so you're slowing the enemies. He really needs crit rate to slow the enemies, so he's doing really big damage. So the extra 8% crit rate here really helps. On top of this, it'll be increasing his basic attack and skill damage by 20%. So overall, this is going to be giving him a pretty big attack bonus to both his base attack and skill damage. So whether you're running him in a sub DPS role, this will help the basic attack out or even help the skill damage out depending on the situation you're in. Now, let's say you can't reach that 70% crit rate threshold. There is another set you could run, and that set is going to be the new Glamis set. The Glamis set's going to run off of speed. If you get him to a really high speed, I would say over 160, this is definitely the set you would want to be running here because it will be increasing his attack and his damage output overall, meaning his skill, basic, and ult is all affected by this. This is something I would recommend running if you can make him a main DPS and your crit ratios are already pretty high. This can help him out more in certain situations than the Glamis could. Obviously, you're losing 2% damage on the skill and basic, but you are getting 18% on the ultimate move, which arguably does the most damage of his kit. This is super good to run. If you have Glamis and you want to run that, run that. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the third option you can run here, and this kind of plays in the Glamis. You can run a 2-piece speed set. The reason I say you can run a 2-piece speed set here is because it does give you an extra 6% speed boost. And for my boy Danny here, it'll probably be giving him an extra 6.6 speed added on here, which really helps him out as far as reaching his speed thresholds he needs to reach. So if you're struggling to reach that threshold with Glamis, then I would recommend running that set with him as well. Now, with all the sets out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about what I run as far as stats go. Starting off with the boots first. On the boots, I run speed boots. If you're running a Bronya on your team, you can swap this out for attack percent boots. I'm running a Bronya on my team, but I still like him running speed. That's just me because I'm kind of copium. I just like speed on him a lot. It helps out a lot, especially with the In the Night Light Cone. So we're running speed here. Next in line is going to be the chest plate. On the chest plate, I would recommend running crit rate or crit damage. If you can't reach the crit rate threshold you need to reach, then definitely running crit rate here. But I was able to achieve the 70% crit rate without that. So yeah, we're running crit damage here instead. For the orb, we're just running a wind damage boosting orb here. It's only level 6 right now. You cringe, I know. His damage will still be high. Don't you worry, guys. Then finally, for the rope here, guys, we're going to be running attack percentage rope. You could opt in to run an energy regen rope up here just so he's getting his ultimate back up really fast and more consistently. That's going to be up to you. For my testing, I like running the attack percent rope a little better because he still gets around a 2-turn ultimate turnaround time with this, so I'm completely fine with using this. I am also using Ting Yun on the team as well, so that also helps battery the ultimate. Now, hopping into the sub and main stats you want to be running on him, guys. For these substats, I would recommend getting speed overall. The 2 main substats I would recommend getting first is going to be speed and crit rate. You want his crit ratio to be over 70% or his speed to be over 160. If you can reach either one of these requirements, then maybe you could slack off in the latter, but I would still recommend these 2 higher than any of the other ones. Also, crit damage is going to be really good because it increases the crit damage he does. And finally, attack percentage. He is a DPS at the end of the day, so these are some really big things that I think you could run on him and be very beneficial to him. But now that we've went over that long and drawn out section over the relics, let's go ahead and talk about his Eidolons now and what are his best Eidolons you should be aiming for, or what Eidolons should you be looking at in your account if you want to actually use them. Now, I would not recommend using Danny if you cannot get him to at least E4. The reason I say that is because E4 is basically giving him an extra turn after you defeat an enemy. This can be really good because one of his downsides is he doesn't do any AoE attacks, and you know, while he does do good single target damage, you still have to wait for him to go. So this really helps him out kill more mobs on the field, or really the smaller mobs, so then you can go and focus more on the big mobs. Now let's hop into our last little section here about light cones before we actually hop into the character showcase. So the best in slot light cone for my boy Danny is going to be the In the Night light cone. In the Night light cone is going to be giving him a big crit rate buff. On top of this, for every 10 speed that exceeds 100, he will be getting a basic attack and skill damage increase by 6%, and the crit damage of their ultimate is also going to be getting a 12% increase as well. This can stack up to 6 times, so if you can get him to 160 speed by using this, meaning you might potentially be able to use the other set, this is going to be his best in slot option because he just gets so many stacks. But let's just say you missed Zila's banner, you missed her light cone, and you want a free to play option. Easy clap, guys. I have the solution for you. That's going to be the Cruising in the Stellar Sea light cone. It's going to be increasing your crit rate yet again, which helps him with slows. It'll also be increasing your attack whenever you defeat enemies, meaning if you're using that E4 proc, you're going to be getting this off, right? So this is just a really good light cone to have. Probably his third best in slot overall, but second best in slot today for my videos purposes. This is the best free-to-play light cone for him. But say you don't have Cruising in the Stellar Sea. Say you don't have it in the Night light cone. What's another light cone you could use? What's the best 4-star light cone that you can use for him? And that's going to be the Swordplay light cone. This forces you to target one enemy. It's going to be increasing your damage by 8% up to 5 times, which is a 40% damage increase if you keep attacking the same enemy. So this is also another really good option. Best 4-star option to run. Some other options that you might have on your account would be Sleep in Silence, which is Yang Ching's signature light cone. Pretty good for crit rate and crit damage, so that can also help out. And finally, I guess his signature 4-star light cone, the Only Silence Remains light cone, which gives you a 16% attack increase and also gives you a crit rate increase when there are 2 or less enemies on the field. These are also some good options to run. Now look at our luxurious team here. We're using Danny at E6, Ting Yun's at E5, Bronny's at E2, and also Fu Xuan's at E0. So this is going to go absolutely amazing. First, we're going to go ahead and buff up Danny here. I'm not going to use the ultimate just yet because actually we can use the ultimate, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're going to go ahead and use the ultimate here. It doesn't matter anyways, whatever. But this is why I say it's kind of hard to use the ultimate and make the ultimate consistent, because right here we have to choose either between using his skill and using our resistance penetration here to slow the enemy so the ultimate does more damage, or do we choose to just use the ult off a rip and get the resistance penetration? In this case, we're just going to use a skill here first, and then we'll go in with the ultimate move. And that should like do some pretty 69,000 damage, not bad at all there. But overall, this team is not very skill point efficient. It's gonna be hard to get skills. I think Hanya would be a better fit than Bronya on this team, if I'm being really honest with you. It'll also help him out with speed and attack as well. Let's take a look at his stat line real quick. Even after we just did that attack there, he's at 73 extra speed. Hey, yo, brother man's popping off. Then what? He's getting 84% crit rate, 160% crit damage. We don't need to worry about effect hit rate or effect res, and he's also getting a huge attack bonus here too, almost 4,000 extra attack here. Now, if you didn't want to use Bronya on this team, you could opt in for using either Asta or even Hanya on this team whenever she gets released. We need to save a skill point this time just because Fu Xuan's ability is about to run out, and I did a run before this and I forgot to proc it and he died in 1 hit. So thank you, Monkey Boss, for causing me this discomfort. He also has his resistance penetration back up as well, and that's why I recommend running Runelin on here, because it is kind of hard sometimes to actually proc his ability off properly. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Nice, we got the kill there, and then it'll be off of his turn now. We're gonna go ahead and use this as well. We're going to wait for it to be this guy's turn. I think maybe it'll... Yeah. Oh, we should have waited. See, we should have waited there, and we would have got his resistance penetration back up. But this is fine because now we can attack this guy, kill this guy, and then we get our extra turn back here as well. Only a basic attack. Ew, cringe stinky. Buff him up, Ting Yun, please. Oh, we had to save. Oh, no, I broke the wrong person. Well, that stinks. You know what? You know what? Let's just... We shouldn't use that. We wasted the ult again. Dude, I am misplaying this so bad. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're misplaying it. Look, he's going to kill and get a turn back anyways. It doesn't matter at all. Bang! He killed. He gets a turn back. 19,000 in the ult there. Now, let's see what he does here. Oh, 23k there. See... That's what I'm saying, guys. I love Runelin a lot more on him. He's just so much more consistent with it, I feel like. Roll the dice. Roll the dice. Come on. Extra skill point. Let's go, baby. Extra skill point. We'll take that extra skill point and an extra speed boost. Give him that big boy buff and use your ultimate. Yeah, Danny surely got this in the bag. He's gonna kill right here. Let's see what we're doing for damage. 39,000. I mean, it's a little bit more than the skill, I guess. Also, this is why his kit can be a little bit more intricate than like your normal DPS would be, because you do have to time a lot of things with this kit, right? You have to time when he's getting his resistance penetration up, you have to time when he's getting his ult up kind of, and everything like that, making sure he goes fast enough. It's just a pretty intricate kit. It's not like a base level beginner kit, I would say, because you do have to time for a lot of these things. He's gonna lose his buff here, as you can see, and we're not gonna have enough skill points now because he just used 3 skill points going back to back to back to back. Now I kind of want to show you guys what a max damage number looks like from him, so we're gonna boost him to the front. We're going to use Bronya's ult. Yeah, as you can see, he has his resistance penetration up, so his wind resistance penetration is up by 31%. He's getting a damage boost from Bronya's skill, because as you can see, we're also getting an attack and crit damage bonus from Bronya's ultimate. We're also about to just throw the ultimate on Danny as well from Ting Yun. I don't really care about the energy right now, so this will add some extra damage to him. This adds, what, an extra 56% damage increase, and then also the enemy is slowed as well, meaning we're going to be doing extra damage from this ultimate on him, and we're going to be breaking his shield as well. This is like a perfect best case scenario for what Danny would do. Now we just need him to crit, right? Oh, 117,000 damage. Not bad at all. I've seen this go up to like 130,000 damage before in my previous testing, so this can go up higher. It just depends on like all the buffs you're getting and if you can crit properly, and just a lot of factors, right? So, I mean, from that, what it looked like there, I mean, it was really good. That damage was not bad at all. Anyways, gamers, that's going to do it for today's video on Mr. Daniel Dan Heng base form. As you can see, he's obviously not as good as his big brother, and he's better than what a lot of people make him out to be. And the reason why I think he is so low on the tier list is because of the fact that he is harder to play. He is just overall harder to play, and with those intricacies, he doesn't hit as high damage as other characters do. You have to wait on a lot of turns to come up, and I think he's just, that's the reason why he's so low on a lot of tier lists. That's why he's low on my tier list. I'm not saying that he can't do like super good damage, just a lot of units do a lot better damage than him with less intricacies involved and needing a lot less, I guess, requirements to do that damage. He just needs a lot to do that damage, right? If you can do the damage, he does great damage, but if you can't reach there, then as you can see, his damage can be inconsistent. I mean, I would say a 70k range of going from ultimate doing 30k to an ultimate doing almost 130k, 100k. I mean, it's a big difference, right? And that's the reason why I think he's so low on tier list, because he can be quite inconsistent. And that's just by fault to play. That's just a skill issue, right? Just get good at the game and you'll hit damage like that more often than not, right? But anyways, gamers, that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. By the way, he's only level 75, so his damage could increase by a little bit by giving him some better stuff, and also the wind damage orb as well. Anyways, that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoy the future videos we're doing on the channel, because I am recording like 14 and editing 14 videos in the next week, because we're going to Japan soon, so Japan vlogs will be up when we go, but you guys will have, or should have, consistent Star Rail content. Anyways, hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Later. Bye-bye.